welcome back to another Inside Texas live show. It's our Sunday live. We got Nash Talks Texas and Mr. Sunshine State himself, Evan Veith. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
I thought Nash was going to go first. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm just got back.
Say, man was in Hawaii, living the dream at a Christmas in Hawaii.
Guy,
you guys doing all this?
Living the dream.
I had to follow Evan. Evan was in Hawaii earlier, so I was like,
Maui Wowie.
Bouncing around Florida, Hawaii, and I'm stuck in College Station, Texas. A little bit envious of you two guys. But again, guys, this is our Sunday IT Live brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm wishing and hoping that everybody has a great and happy New Year and had a Merry Christmas. But let's get to it. We're here to talk Texas and this offense and what it might look like in the Citrus Bowl against the Michigan Wolverines, who have just recently named Kyle Whittingham as head coach. I think that's a fantastic hire, to be honest. I don't know if we see more than 4 or 5 years of Kyle Whittingham at Michigan, but I think he's the right guy to come in there, remove a little bit of the mud that's, staying in that program right now. And I think he's a great culture guy. He's one of my probably 3 or 4 favorite coaches in college football. But let's talk Texas offense. A lot of change. Running backs depth chart obviously is a little bit different. Evan, talk to us a little bit. What are you seeing so far, man? What do you kind of think that running back room and looks like as far as touches or usage against Michigan?
Yeah, at practice today, we only got about 10 minutes. And from what we saw of ones and twos in the red area drill, Christian Clark is the running back one. He was in practice yesterday. I think he's going to be the first guy who gets a carry in this game. Probably gets to the official start of this game. Ryan Niblett was the guy who had who was at the number 2 spot, as I wrote today. He had a nice little truck. I think it was Wardell Mack, who he kind of ran over on the sideline. We knew Niblett was going to get more running back snaps coming into here. We didn't know if he was going to be fully a running back, but it's those two I'd say at the top, and then James Simon and Michael Terry just kind of doing their freshman honors. With bowl season, and we got a lot of guys on our board have talked about this. You're doing a little bit of kind of let's play some defense in the portal and make sure some guys are happy. It's a lot easier to keep true freshmen happy than it is a guy in his second year who's third on the depth chart, especially at a bowl when you only have 60 to 65 players. So I think Clark's going to get the bulk of the carries. Simon's going to get his shots because he's the most natural back after him, and then Niblett. And I think you'll see a few of Terry. Terry's huge. He looks really big on the sideline, but he's also not a natural running back. He's more of an athlete than anything. So I tamper your expectations on him getting a ton of carries unless it really is a blowout.
Yeah, well said, man. I mean, that kind of makes my heart flutter. Christian Clark, running back 1. I might have made a preseason prediction that we'd see this by October, but hey, it's December and we're finally getting there. What is up with everybody being in Hawaii right now? Mr. MJF 206 hooking from Hawaii, headed back today. You guys, I'm gonna start taking up your Christmas plans and ideas. Nash, what are you kind of hoping to see out of the running back room, brother?
To be honest, I want to see James Simon take control. I think that, like Evan said, when you're looking at natural running backs, and I would say without the Achilles injury, you probably have the more natural, like Christian Clark. Christian Clark is a really good, jittery guy, but I think there's that little bit of burst that might be missing after that injury. James Simon, I mean, this dude is legit. He's forcing 31% missed tackles. Like, it's to me, it's reminiscent of Jonathan Brooks, because Jonathan Brooks, we had him before, like when he's backing up Roschon Johnson and Bijan, and it's like, okay, can you really trust the stats because they were against some really, it was against like Rice and Wyoming and stuff like that. You see a lot of the same things with James Simon, but I think that the natural athleticism is there. Like he looks like a good running back. Like it just I feel like it just jumps off the screen. And this is a great opportunity for him to kind of go out there and say, hey, you know what? Maybe we don't need to hit the portal as much as we should because y'all should have some faith in me.
You got to think that's got to be their mindset, right? It's like, this is my big opportunity, between Clark, between Simon, between Niblett. Terry's going to get a couple. I'm really curious to see how they use Niblett and Michael Terry. I would assume and hope that we get pretty creative in doing so. But yeah, I agree. James Simon has a little bit more of that pop, that burst. That's kind of been missing here the last couple seasons in the running back room. And again, you're talking about the missed tackle percentage. Man, we sure needed that. And so I don't know if Texas is really able to lean on the run game in this one, but if it doesn't work out with these backs, our buddy James Fowler says, "Hey, put me in there." He's ready to get some snaps at running back. Nash, we might have to suit you up. Evan will already be there, but I don't know, Evan. I don't know if Evan's ready to be the every down back yet, so we might end up calling James.
Hey, I'll get us half a yard. I'll get us half a yard, baby. Okay, I'll get it.
Hey, and that sometimes at Texas says that you be careful, man. Not easier said than done. But yeah, no, definitely want to see this running back room contribute. I don't want to see a game where we have to rely on Arch Manning throwing the ball 45, 50 times. Again, what are we kind of expecting performance wise out of this offensive line? Because that's going to probably dictate a little bit of what we're able to do, obviously. Evan, what do you think there?
I think it's probably going to be a fairly solid game for this group. I mean, guys like Hudson and Campbell are playing for NFL draft stock. I'm not sure if Hudson's going to get drafted. Campbell surely will be, and I think it's just another time for Brandon Baker and Trevor Gooseby to get reps in. But one big thing for Michigan is that they're going to be down both their starting edge rushers. The defensive line is still good, not Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant that you saw last year. They're also going to be down a linebacker, so the front seven's not quite as good for this Michigan team. So I don't think it's going to be as many problems for the Texas O-line. It got better as the year wore on. It was better against A&M. It wasn't amazing against Georgia, but I don't think we're going to see some disaster class that we saw against Florida from that group.
Oh, really well said, man. You got to think, like you said, highly motivated, a couple of different position groups on this offense, just of the ones we started with. Still a lot to prove. And again, you're putting tape on film. You want to show these scouts and these pros something. What about you, Nash? You think we continue to see the trend line go up, or you got a little bit nervous about how they protect Arch Manning and how they block in this ground game?
Yeah, I'm not really that worried about the protection of Arch Manning. I would say, for me, the thing that I'm most interested to see on the offensive line is it does feel like, hey, of all the players that you want to get a look at, you want to get a look at Daniel Cruz, because that's a guy that, like, they'd have some really positive thoughts about, about his future being the starter at Texas. But I mean, with how the offensive line performed this year, you have to know that he's that guy, or else you got to go out on the board and get a legit starter. So I think, like, similar to James Simon that we just said, I think that this is a really big game for Daniel Cruz to go out there and say, hey, and I know he's not going to get all the snaps, right? But when he's out there, it's his chance to say, hey, like, I can hang with these big boys, right? I'm not just some practice squad dude. I am a legit starter.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's so much opportunity for so many guys that we haven't seen a ton from in the first 12 games of this season who are going to be relied upon a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, overall, the offensive line, if we're able to crank out 150 rushing yards, I feel like that almost guarantees a Texas win in this game, just because it'll make Arch's job, it'll make Sark's job easier as a play caller. Definitely need to be able to run the football a little bit here in this one. But like Evan said, Michigan's not going to be at full strength. Obviously, Texas is not at either. So a lot of unknowns in this matchup, and definitely something that, kind of hard to wrap your head around at times, because you're like, how exactly does this look? Well, let's talk about Arch Manning real quick, because that's something that I feel pretty confident that we see a pretty good effort, a pretty good performance. You talk about a guy that's had a few weeks of practice time, had a little bit of nerves in that A&M game. I think it was pretty clear early in there, a little bit of happy feet, and mine sped up again, which has, been the issue with Arch. Evan, let's go with you, brother. What are you expecting out of 16 on the 31st?
I think it's going to be a really good game, and he's played so well the last half of the year. And I made some tweet about just how kind of underrated he's become when it comes to both winning games. I know 3 losses this year, but he's 11-3 as a starter. He's had over 2,500 yards in those games. Pretty sensational touchdown to interception ratio during that time. So I'm not expecting much of a step back. This is a worse Michigan defense than we saw last year, and obviously a better O-line for Texas and some better receivers, but they tore that defense apart in Ann Arbor. So I think they're going to have to rely on Arch a lot in the second half. I do think Michigan keeps this game close, and Texas will probably want to do a pretty standard script in the first half of, let's see what we've got of our running backs. If we can get a few wide receivers involved, that would be nice. And then second half, I mean, they want to win this game. They're trying to get a 10th win. I do think there's some kind of deep down idea that getting to 10, getting to double digits does kind of mean something going into next year for momentum. So that's where I think they might spread it out in the second half and really let Arch win the game for Texas, which we're talking about the best players in the field in this game. It's him and Ryan, or Colin Simmons, excuse me. So he's going to be the guy they're going to rely on to really get them over the hump if it's a close game late.
I totally agree with you, man. We've seen that basically all season long. Nash, what are your takes on Arch for this week?
I just want to see him get, because like Evan said, you started to see I think you might have said it, but you started to see him kind of, go back to regress a little bit in that Texas A&M game. The accuracy issues started to kind of pop up again. That pass to Ryan Wingo, he almost missed him. There were a couple other passes that you're like, man, like if you were watching the Sky Cam, you're like, man, he could have been more accurate, right? And we could have had a lot better, easier of a day. Either way, he still got the job done, and it would just be nice to see, him return to that accurate passing that he had been, finding versus Oklahoma, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt. The list goes on. But I think a big thing of that is Ryan Wingo. I mean, you see I like seeing the leadership from Arch Manning, because when you have Ryan Wingo out there struggling, and you see Arch Manning go up to him on the sideline like, "Hey, I know you got this, right?" Like he's not digging into the dude, but he's also not fluffing him up, saying, "Hey, you catching everything, right?" He's like, "No, you can catch that one, right?" I like to see the leadership, and I want to see a little bit more of that from Arch Manning this weekend.
Yeah, man, and that's going to be big for me, man, because when he's sped up a little bit, when maybe he's overanalyzing things, that's when you start to see balls that, like the Wingo, the great catch by Wingo, where he made a great adjustment on the ball in the air against A&M with a huge catch for him. So you got to credit him. Yeah, he's had plenty of drops this year. Case Sink, he knows, he's seen this season. We've had a ton of drops. It is time to make plays on the ball. So that was huge of Ryan Wingo to bail out Arch in that
massive catch.
Yeah, huge catch, man. And again, Arch wasn't perfect against A&M. I think that first half, there were a couple of throws that he left on the table. I just want to see him calm, and a ground game will help with that. Again, more practice time, more development. It's allowed, even if you're Arch Manning. Practice matters. So yeah, I think we'll see a comfortable Arch. I do like what you said, Evan. I think very important game. 10 wins. You got more tape for people are going to be watching Texas. They're going to watch Arch Manning. If there's a couple of guys that hop in the portal and you can point to say, look at this performance by Arch Manning. Look at this performance by the Texas offense. Like, all those little things matter, in my opinion. And so I do want to see the Texas use this somewhat as a springboard into a hopefully very productive and solid spring and off season. But again, you got to go win the game, and Michigan's not going to lay it down. Proud program. They've had a lot going on the last couple of weeks, last couple of years. We'll see Michigan stand up. Wouldn't be surprised at all if we do see them keep this one close. We're going to get to the wide receiver room in one moment. We'll talk about those guys, of course, big part of this Texas offense, hopefully a really big part against Michigan. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Fast one.
Same-day delivery powered by DoorDash.
And we're back. That was very quick. Appreciate the Academy. But talk about the wide receiver room. Obviously, DeAndre Moore into the transfer portal. Not a huge surprise, to be honest. The guy needs to go out and put some more tape on film. Texas has a lot of youth right there behind Dre. Rumors of a potential portal ad, that Texas might be hunting there. But what are we looking for in this wide receiver group? Obviously, no drops. It's going to be something that we all want to see. But let's get deeper than that. What are y'all thinking for Texas, Michigan, for the wide receivers?
Well, first of all, I think we might see Day-Day McCutcheon start this game. The two times I've watched them practice, it looked like he was the number one slot guy out there. Now they may come out in 12, and technically Jordan Washington gets the starter or whatever it may be. But I wouldn't be surprised if Day-Day has the majority of slot snaps, because in a game like this, you kind of just want to keep when it really doesn't matter all that much, you kind of want to keep your two deep the way it's been all year. And he was the number 2 slot wide receiver, even though, if you asked me to play for a national championship tomorrow with the current roster, I'd probably prefer Emmett Mosley out there. It's probably beneficial to see what he's going to do as a slot receiver in case, hey, maybe next year, if you don't bring a receiver, you need him to be a slot. Or if you bring in another slot guy, you can see if he's good enough to compete with him. And maybe that's Mosley's job next year. We'll see what happens with the wide receiver room. There's a lot up in the air when it comes to the portal with that. But Day-Day going out there and playing would be big, and playing well. I think you're going to see a lot of the top 3 guys for the first bit of the game. And then you'll see Lockett and French for sure. They'll combo in. And I think they're great receivers who just kind of need a chance to play. I really want to see French get out in space, because the few times we've seen him, it's mostly just been, hey, go catch a 10-yard out against a terrible team. So that would be fun. I want to see these freshmen get out there, and that's where Texas getting into a blowout type of scenario would be awesome, where you can just really see these young guys play.
That's what a lot of us want to see, man. We want to see the youth at wide receiver. We want to see exactly what that looks like, how their development and their growth is coming. But then again, you got a Ryan Wingo, you got an Emmett Mosley, who you want to continue to incorporate into this offense, considering he's only really been a part of it for half a season. What are your thoughts, Nash?
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting there thinking Dalen McCutcheon is the obvious guy to go out there and replace DeAndre Moore. You had him; he was the only freshman wide receiver not only taking snaps but getting a target in Ohio State. So clearly, he's had the trust of the coaching staff to be in the right spot all year long, and this feels like a big game for him also to go out there and say, hey, next year Y'all can rely on me as a starter. But same for French. I really am interested to see Terry out there catching footballs. I know he's going to be at the running back spot, but man, he's got a little bit of that niblet to him, where he's just an athlete, and you just want to get the ball in his hands. And I would love to see him, catch the football and do something with it, because then, hey, we got a really good guy that if we go to find a legit starter, he could be a legit number 2.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely want to have a situation where we're happy about the youth and what they've looked like and what we've seen from them. So, like, if like, hey, we're envision a larger role for Michael Terry going into the spring, that'd be great. If we see what we want to see from maybe a Khalil Lockett, a Jamie French, like you said earlier, maybe you're thinking, okay, we might not have to hit the portal as hard at this respective position group. But overall, man, I just want to see a clean played game. I want to see them blocking in the run game if we are able to hit the edge. I want to see them catching the football, go up and we don't really throw a lot of true 50-50 balls, but later in the season, Ryan Wingo had a little bit of a different attitude with the ball in the air. So I'd love to see, a couple of big athletic plays out of him. Obviously get the screen game going. You've seen what Texas can do when the screen game is hitting and we're blocking well out there, and then it's turned into some really big plays. It's kind of unfree or unlock this offense rather. Wow. We got a comment here from Mr. McGowan. Let the athlete make athlete plays. Hopefully they don't overcomplicate utilizing Terry. And that's the thing, man. You got to be creative in how you get these guys the ball, because you got to put yourself in Michigan's shoes. You see this elite athlete, this young cat get on the field, and in my opinion, you start to, your antennas go up a little bit, and you're like, hey, might not be a true 50-50 chance or higher that he gets the ball here, but he's on the field for a reason. And that's how I felt about Texas and their usage of Ryan Niblett over the last couple of seasons. Just sometimes a little bit obvious where the ball's going, and if you know where the ball's going, you see the alignment, it becomes pretty easy to predict plays. But again, we'll see what Texas has cooked up. We've had a few weeks of practice. Anything else out of this Texas offense that y'all are looking for? Maybe you're excited to see a player or two, or just any over thoughts in general?
Well, I think with Terry versus Niblett, talking about the athlete types, I think with Niblett a little more, they were trying to do those really long developing screens where he was kind of getting all the way out wide, and then you'd throw it back to him, or in the swing passes where he's kind of got to maneuver around the field. I think with Terry, I would just prefer if they ran inside zone with him and said, like, hey, you're the 6'3" dude who's clearly pretty built. The overcomplicated for me would be doing these kind of over-exaggerated screen plays and having them split out wide and then having them come back and do motions and orbits and all that stuff. He's too new to the position to be doing all that. If you really want to see what you got in Michael Terry as a running back, let him play a little bit of running back and run the ball and run it in between the tackles and see if he can hit a gap properly or if he can actually run a dude over. Because I think that's what everyone has in our vision is him juking a guy out and then running a guy over in his third year with the team and suddenly he's the best athlete. But that starts with actually giving him a chance to just run the ball in his first year.
I fully agree with you, man, because if it's Ryan Niblett, most defenses are going to know and assume you're not probably running inside zone or your duos, and you're not going to rely on that. So you're looking for the swings, the orbit motions, and the way that most likely if it's Niblett, it's going to be something on the edge. Michael Terry, different cat, different story, much different prospect. The guy that I fully agree, you run your inside zones with him. You find out exactly what he looks like as a running back, because if you can run inside zones successfully, all of a sudden all these other things that Texas wants to do offensively with that position, they start to open up a little bit. So how about you, Nash? Any final words or thoughts?
Yeah, I really just I want to see injuries in Townsend go out there and really have a good game. I mean, Injuries, I know we at least I was going on vacation, so maybe there's a surprise announcement I haven't heard of, but it's still up in the air if he's going to return or go to the NFL. And then Townsend's a real legit candidate for being a stud tight end. So watching him have a good game, that if we do end up seeing Jack injuries go off to the NFL, man, that would give us a ton of confidence at that position. But Jack injuries, he's a dog, right? That guy's he's going to catch some tough passes. I really want to see those guys blocking well, and letting these running backs have some holes open up on the edge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that, and again, I'm glad you brought tight ends up because I completely skipped them, and it's not to discredit my guys, Jack injuries or Washington or any of the rest of them, but they're going to be a big part of this offensive game plan, I would assume. Sark's still going to run and trot out a little bit of 12 personnel. Maybe we see that early, and then, like Evan said, more of an open spread attack, quick game attack later on after we maybe we're able to run 12 personnel for 4 quarters. That would be great. I mean, everything's probably going really, really well if that is the case. But no, I agree with you, man. I'd love to see Jack Andrews really involved. I want him to be a part of this offense next year. Again, I believe the current status is that he'll make his decision post bowl game. So let's get him involved a little bit. Had a massive second half there against A&M. Probably don't win that game without Jack Andrews. Now, one of the 2 times he's running scot-free, there's nobody around him. A lot of tight ends probably could make that play. But, I mean, toughness, a little bit explosive after the catch for a tight end. And then Arch is really the best throw he made in that game, where he kind of had that lofted pass over a defender to Jack Andrews after resetting his feet and avoiding the pass rush. Got to get Jack Andrews involved, Nash. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, man. Hey, guys, hop on over to InsideTexas.com. Still running the $1 flash sale. Come be a part of our community. We're talking recruiting, portal news coming soon. Portal's about to open up. Obviously, all types of bowl prep stuff. Evan doing a great job with all his coverage out there in Orlando. But yeah, go join Inside Texas right now for $1. Become a part of our community today, right now. Go do it. But all right, guys, time to wrap this up. There you go. Nash has got somebody sub.
You're slow on that one.
I got somebody.
That's a crispy dollar too, Nash. I need to switch banks with you. But all right, guys, I appreciate y'all joining me, Nash, Evan, go enjoy, the rest of your stay in Florida. Enjoy the Citrus Cheez-It Bowl, Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, however they're saying this. There's Cheez-Its and there's citrus. We got it all. Nash, I don't know if you're going back to Hawaii, but I'm sure one of you guys are soon.
I'm going
y'all
back
enjoy it. There you go, man. Everyone have a great rest of your Sunday. Enjoy some NFL action, and we'll talk soon. Thank y'all.